What's up, fight fans? Welcome to episode number 7 of Fight Nerds. I'm your host and driver, Flying Brian J. Here with me for the first time on the show, one of my good friends, a guy who has found his niche in mixed martial arts, Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence. What up, Andy?
You know what? We were talking about niche before the show. That's why, Mr. Jeffries over here had to say that word niche. But I didn't mention it. In college, it used to infuriate me when people would pronounce the word niche as niche. But when we were discussing it, I just naturally said it. I said it like 3 or 4 times, and it sounded very comfortable. And I wasn't upset at all.
So, how are you supposed to pronounce that word?
Well, there's no such thing as proper pronunciation, people. Let's just be very clear. That is just a lie. The thing after a word in a dictionary, that is a suggested pronunciation. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want on this planet. But there's two ways to pronounce it. It's either niche or niche. Niche I find to be more like European and like sophisticated.
There's no T in the word, though, is there?
No, like niche.
I feel like niche would have a T before the CH.
I mean, I'm just reporting what I've been, seeing out in these streets.
Okay, yeah. Tomato, tomato is how they say, right?
This is starting well. Let's debate the pronunciation of the word niche.
Yeah, well, this is our show, and we can start it however we want. Anyway, fight fans, I'll tell you how the show is going to go. That was the intro. Next, we're going to do Geeked Out, which is something that we've been excited about in the past 7 to 365 days. Section number 2 is Walk the Walk. We're going to talk about the upcoming fight card, UFC 211. We're going to say how far we would walk in order to be allowed to watch each fight on this card, and then we will end the show with listener questions. If you haven't already, get them in with hashtag Fight Nerds, and you can ask us some silly questions or whatever. So, Andrew, I told you about the format beforehand. Do you have anything that you've geeked out in the past 7 days over?
Oh, actually, I'm such a nerd that I had 3 things, and I thought that I'd lay them all out in front of you, and you could select which one we wanted to break out in depth.
That sounds great to me. Hit me with them.
1, I've been super excited for this Sunday because it starts the summer sumo tournament in Japan. So like there's 6 main tournaments in sumo all year, and they take like 15 days each. This is one of the 2 that happens actually in Tokyo. So it's a big goddamn deal. The first Japanese sumo wrestling Yokozuna it happened for like the last 15 years. Here, I'm babbling about it already. I'm creaking out too much. Number 2. So sumo's 1. 2. I've been reading every single comic book that was inside the Marvel run for Secret Invasion. And 3, I've been boxing. And I've been boxing a lot. I got obsessed with boxing. So you take your pick out of those 3.
Out of those 3...
And clearly, I'll be too hyped about sumo. So
No. That is my choice. I want the sumo. Bring me in on that sumo. Do you ever listen to Jack Slack?
Yeah, that's who turned me on to like the idea of maybe you should check out sumo. I forget, like maybe it was like 6 months ago. But then I saw a YouTube channel that this guy does, and it's like Joe's All Sumo channel, and he gives you the live footage of like all the major fights that you need to know. He does a breakdown before and after to kind of like help you learn the characters and everything. Brilliant fucking YouTube channel. My hat's off to that dude. That's a guy who's like living in Japan and like putting out amazing content for people. That he's a real warrior.
That it? No, keep.
No. Oh, do you want me to keep going? I figured.
Yeah. Tell us more about the sumo.
Okay. So this right now, I'm keying in on a few characters that are like absolutely like who to watch for this upcoming basho. It starts on Sunday, but it goes for 50. So like, just imagine 2 weeks. Until 2 weeks, we'll have like the big finale, end of the month. It'll be a big deal. We'll know then like who would be in position to win the sumo tournament. And for people who don't know, the thing about a sumo tournament is there's basically a top 16 people, right? There's 16 main dudes, and they all end up round robin fighting each other. It's a really complex, arcane ass system, actually. So I won't get into like the details of it, but just imagine that there was a round robin of 16 people. So you have 15 fights, and then the person with the best record at the end of the tournament, he's gets awarded. They give him all this shit, and there's a ceremony, and there's like rose petals and stuff. It's very Japanese. It's very awesome. That's the thing. Americans don't understand how to like celebrate a victor, Brian. we give you get a trophy, and there might be like some confetti in a parade, but like there will literally be 19 women like surrounding this man everywhere he will walk for the next few days. You know?
I think the UFC should do shit like that. I don't think that we do enough for winning fights, for presentation of fights. I
Dude,
would love more of that.
I was watching bare knuckle boxing in London. No, not even in London, in some bumblefuck town in England. And even there, they were giving away belts just like randomly during fights. It's like, this is the King James holiday belt. And I was like, yep, this is the fight for who's going to be the best dude at King James Day. I accepted it instantly. There should just be, imagine like even just the main event that wasn't for a title in the UFC. It went 5 rounds. It was a really big fight. Like, why not give that dude a big ass trophy at the end? You know?
Yeah, I love it. Throw fucking flower petals on him and shit too, right?
And there's definitely not enough fire happening. I realized when I watched Anthony Joshua fight Klitschko in London, when they lit up AJ next to him, that we needed pyrotechnics has its place in combat sports, people. As much as I want to be a purist and I'm just here to see who the baddest dude in the world is, I do also want to see some things blow up.
Yeah, and I want some cup of noodles mascots up in the mix. I want some dominatrix outfits happening,
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah, just there's a lot of dead time in fighting. Like, that's the God's honest truth. And we need it filled. We're dumb monkey people. We have short ass attention spans. There's a lot, and I don't want it filled by, Karen Bryan in the booth. I want to see some, crazy acrobatic lady on, some ribbons, or some guy do a knife throwing demonstration.
Especially if you're in the arena and you have to wait a fucking half an hour until the next fight, rather than getting wasted, we could watch pyrotechnics, cup of noodles.
I could get wasted and watch those things. It's very, yeah. We're talking about sumo wrestling, dude. But okay, so sumo wrestling, they're gonna have 15 matches. They basically do one every day. There's a lot of people fighting during these sumo bashes because there's all this like secondary tier people who are trying to vie into the tier of being in the top 16. There's an evolved ranking system that culminates in becoming the Yokozuna. I won't get into that because I understand that if you don't know anything about sumo, that's boring. But for me, that's like some of my favorite parts of it. It's like learning a video game. You have to like learn the classes and like how you ascend the ranks, and like the council members who bestow upon you like the different ranks as a Yokozuna or as a sumo wrestler fighting, trying to attain the rank of Yokozuna. Also, I started watching documentaries about guys who like wash out of the sumo wrestling lifestyle, and that got sad. I didn't realize that. So like already, like at the beginning of my joy with this thing,
he's gonna poo on it right away.
Yeah, by these people like, oh, this crushes lives and destroys them. And I was like, oh, it's just like MMA, amazing.
That's why you like it so much, right? There's so many similarities.
Well,
it's even kind of striking.
Yeah, that's has to be said. I think part of the reason why I admire fighters so much and enjoy like fighting is because these are people willing to put their entire lives on the line for like a moment in time. I'm not willing to gamble everything that my life could be on 15 minutes of time in my ability to do something well in 15 minutes. Nope. I am minimalizing that risk as much as possible. I need my judgment in my life to be determined over a long span of time. These guys are crazy motherfuckers. But the reality is, if you're going to say that, then that means there has to be consequences for the people who fuck it up. And, or not even just fuck it up, just like weren't good enough,
And not to poo-poo on your sumo wrestling knowledge, but if the listeners actually want to know about the tiered system and the Yokozuna and the rank below Yokozuna, I forget what that is, but check out Jack Slack on Fights Gone By. I mean, he goes through all of that, like a half hour of telling you everything you need to know about sumo.
Yeah, it's a pretty involved system, and honestly, I'm terrible with the Japanese. That's mostly why I like refuse to like even make stabs at it. I just embarrass myself when I speak any. But yeah, definitely go and check that out if you want to actually learn about sumo. So I'm focusing on Kinsen. You see, I'm even fucking it up now. It's Kinsentono or Kinsentoro, the newly crowned Japanese Yokozuna. It's the first time there's been a Japanese Yokozuna in a while. So he's like a fucking god over there right now. And he won back-to-back tournaments. He won a tournament and got awarded the Yokozuna. So you don't just like win a tournament and they're like, yo, Yokozuna, you're a champion. It's not like America. There's no like, hey, you're the champion thing. Like you have to have consistently good performance and like live up to the standard expected uh, of a Yokozuna or of a Japanese warrior, and then like after constantly consistent great performance, and then you win one, then they'll use that as an opportunity to be like, hey, you're the man. Here's your Yokozuna ceremony. And they start making money. There's like a very regimented system of like caste too. So if you're the Yokozuna, you're balling as fuck, and that's very important. You get to have your own apartment. You got like ladies who like wait on you. You're making money now. People sending you gifts and shit. It's pretty dope. Even like the lower level fighters have like fan clubs and they receive gifts and stuff, but it's a very regimented system. If you're not good enough, but like people like you and they want to send you gifts, like the council will be like, nah, you don't get gifts. You're not good enough yet. So all these things, then just like the foreignness of it all, very much appeals to me, of course. I thought you wanted to say something about or interrupt me about sumo, but
no, I was just going to say I was waiting for you to talk about where they're treated like Greek gods or whatever, where there's ladies feeding them grapes and stuff. I remember back in the day, it was MTV, like True Life, I believe it was something like some stupid fucking show on MTV. They did a show about sumo wrestling, and there was a small white dude from America who's going to go over and try to be a Yokozuna or try to compete in sumo with those dudes. And so they showed what actually being one of those guys in Japan or whatever, where they're actually from. And the lifestyle they lived was, I mean, they basically laid around all the fucking time so they could gain weight. And these ladies fed them grapes, like, you know, they're laying on their backs on one of those like chairs where you would talk to your psychiatrist, and the ladies are just dropping grapes in his mouth, and he's like, yo, give me some sushi, and they bring him some sushi.
Yeah, they encourage them to eat as much as they can. Well, at the beginning, there's like a lot of training and there's a lot of proving of yourself. But once you've like peaked as a sumo athlete and you have your technique down and you're like a competitor at the highest level, they try to do as little as possible so they can just gain mass. Especially if they're not one of like the style. There's different styles of sumo fighters. People who like strike and people who are like passive and more like defensive. There actually is this German dude who's just like a really jacked German dude. He's like 180 pounds. He's not fat at all. He wears all the traditional attire. And he's nasty as fuck. His game is like, you know, he's just shifty. Like when they commit to like throwing him with all their weight, and he's just like, you're gonna land before I do because I'm like mad nimble in the air or during the fall. And sometimes he performs surprisingly well. I think he's just below the level right now of the 16th. And there's like some wild dude that everyone's pumped about who's like from South Africa or some wild like some place that's outside of Japan. That's why anytime there's a non-Japanese fighter who's like from an exotic locale, that's right up Japan's alley. So there's going to be like a small buzz surrounding a new sumo like that. All of this adding and culminating into being the greatest thing in the world in a fantastic spectacle.
Well, last thing I want to mention about your geeked out for this week before I get into mine. We were talking a little bit about how we are people with short-term memories or short attention spans, right? And that's why these 35-second just fucking wow, sumo is so gosh darn exciting. I mean, 35 seconds is probably a long time for a sumo match.
Dude, I can watch every single fight that a sumo had in the entire tournament in about 10, 15 minutes. A lot of times.
That's just amazing, and that's one reason why it's so fun. Have you ever heard of the video game Rocket League?
No.
There's just 5-minute games. So you're playing soccer with cars, so it's 5-minute little bite-sized games. They just go by like this. So I love them.
Like that. Yeah, like WarioWare and Mario Party. Those were awesome because it's just like, hey, try this out. Okay, you fucked it up. Next game.
Yeah, instead of where there's game Battlefield, the matches are literally a half an hour. That's a long fucking time.
Oh, I don't want to fight.
Especially if you're passing the controller back and forth. Like, okay, so I'm sitting out this half of an hour.
I don't want to. Yeah, God, half hour Battlefield. Get it together. What are you geeking out about this week? So yeah, sumo. Go watch it. Check out the YouTube channel, Joe's All Sumo channel.
Well, you know this, the Clown Kid, Andrew. I love brewing. I love brewing beer, home brew, or whatever. So I recently got asked to do a brew with a local brewery. They're actually like an hour and 12 minutes, hour and 12 minutes away from where I currently live. I've been talking to these guys for a while. I reviewed some of their beer on my YouTube channel, and they invited me up to do a brew day with them so I could actually see what it's like to brew a commercial beer. And the guy that made my favorite beer's recipe, not my favorite beer, but my favorite beer that they make, I talked to him and I said, "Hey, this beer that you guys make, I think it could be made better by doing this." And he said, if I come up and so we can make those tweaks to the beer, he would put it in a 10-gallon barrel, or not a 10-gallon barrel, a 10-barrel system. So it's like 100 gallons, I think. And they would sell it in their tap room if I made it, and it turned out pretty awesome. So I've been geeking out over the opportunity to actually become a commercial brewer.
That is super. I would be so pumped to do that. I have no clue how to brew beer, but I think I'd be confident enough and cocky enough to be like, hold on, guys, let me brew this beer real quick.
Well, it all started not last week, a couple of weekends ago. It was actually my birthday weekend, so it was 4/29, I believe. I went to a beer festival, and this guy was there. And this beer festival, it's $25 to get in. The event lasts for 4 hours, and it's all you can drink for $25. So there was 11 breweries there, and they each had 4 beers. And then there was also 11 tables with random beers that, like, I feel like they got from the local liquor store. And you can just drink. They give you 2-ounce samples, 3-ounce samples. You can drink however much you want. And at the very end of the show, I went to their table to talk to them a little bit. And so I was honestly fucking hammered talking to this guy about making this recipe. And he was receptive to it, and he was sober, and I was like, "Wow, that's we got to do that." And
I was wondering how this all happened.
well, the first time I went up there, I had talked about their brewery on my YouTube channel, and the first time I went up there, so I'm walking up to the door, and they're like, "Hey, are you flying Brian?" And I'm like, "You goddamn right." And I strut my stuff a little bit. Yeah. And they treated me like a VIP the whole time. They got me a free pint when I walked in, and I'm like, "Yep, this is my new favorite brewery. I'm loving this." And so I've been talking to. They all added me on Facebook as a friend, and so I've been talking to them for a while. But I don't know if sober I would have the cojones to say, let me change your beer up that you make as a professional."
Yeah, it's such an arrogant little kind of cocky move.
Well, they make. Let me explain a little further. They make this IPA that's floral. And I'm not into floral IPAs, but I like this one. I said we can, and I know what hops make it floral, and I know what hops make it citrusy or fruity. And I said, I want to make that beer fruity. And he said, okay, what hops would you use? And I told him a couple, and he's like, okay, yeah, I can get those. And so if you just tell me when you can come up, I'll get those hops, and we can give it a shot. So
I love how he just rolled with it. He probably was like testing your shit, and then when you actually knew what kind of hops you wanted, he was just like, "Oh, pause." And then he's like, "Wait, I could probably do this. Actually, it's probably a decent idea." And I was like, "All right, we'll see what this kid's got."
yeah, so someday, man, maybe I can get it bottled, and I'll send you one. See how you like it.
You know what's crazy, and you're gonna hate me forever. And I think we've talked about this before, like on the Twitter machine. You know, I can't stand drinking an IPA.
Yeah, man, it's a really, really acquired taste. For the first year that I was a craft beer aficionado, I hated them.
Really? That's how long it took you.
Yeah, probably a year. And I would try them. I don't want to give away how much I drink, but once a week I would once a week I would try an IPA, and I'm just like, that is garbage, but here it goes. Woo.
As a craft beer guy, do you drink a beer every day?
No, I try not to Monday through Thursday.
That's smart. It keeps the waistline trim too.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. So I gained like 10 pounds loving craft beer. So American light lagers, there's a little bit of goodness to them because of their minimal calories.
You realize after drinking a Miller High Life that that's just going right through you. There's no you know, you did not ingest calories.
My family drinks a lot. Kind of every family gathering we get together.
Yeah, I love that. Is you laughed after it.
There's a lot of Blue Bombers and Bud Light at family gatherings, and so since I've been drinking craft beer for a long time, I can go there and just knock them out and like never feel a thing. Feels like.
Oh yeah, that's always a good thing in your back pocket with craft beers. I have 3 beers in my fridge right now. I would ask you to guess them, but actually, if you thought I had 3 beers in my fridge, and I'm not very much a beer drinker, I clearly have all this liquor behind me.
Miller High Life, Heineken, and I want to say Stella Artois.
Oh, that would be very common. So you nailed one, right? Miller High Life. I always keep Miller High Life on tap. That's just alcohol water. 2, is Red Stripe.
Okay, Jamaican man.
Yeah, like sometimes when it's hot, I just buy Red Stripe, and like the people come over my house and they'll be like, "Damn, Red Stripe," and they'll always be happy to see it. So I'm like, it's a thing to get. And then I think there's some other like local fucking nonsense that someone dropped in my like a saison or in a
Local.
can.
Oh,
Yeah,
saisons. Yes, I love me a farmhouse
saison.
ale.
Yeah. So
Is it Belgium or French?
well, they're brewing it on fucking you know out there in Long Island, so it's not very French or Belgium. I think it's a French style one though.
Okay, yeah, I think that depends on
That's a
the
guess.
yeast that they use. I prefer Belgian.
I love that you know that.
Yeah. In my fridge, which I can almost touch it over here, I
Yes,
probably have at least 30 different kinds.
30 different kinds of beer in your fridge right now.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you do that? Do you just like buy a six pack, but like leave two or three behind?
I've done some of that. I've done a lot of mixer sixers.
Ah,
I went to when I went to the UFC event, UFC on Fox 24 with Demetrius Johnson. I went to Kansas City for that. I went to this liquor superstore,
mhm.
and they sold. I mean, it was like the size of a fucking Walgreens of craft beer, and they would just sell you one bottle at a time.
Unreal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
For a
So
dude
I
like you, that's like kid in the candy store shit.
oh my God, I told my girlfriend what style I wanted to drink, and I said just go grab them. And I left that place and I spent $135.
That's so
I,
rational, though. I feel you on that. That's like buying like a toy you like, you know?
yeah, I mean, I've only drank that was on what that card was a month ago, and I still have most of them in my fridge because I've only drank like four because after you have one beer, the next one you can't taste it as much.
Yeah, sure.
So
You always want to.
all of those beers I want to have as my first beer of the night whenever I have them.
Boom. I'm with you
For
on that.
because I also have 200 not craft, home brewed beers in my closet nearby, so that they're end of the night beers.
Yeah, if you're a real drinker, you know these things. Like I have liquor here that's like actual good liquor, and then there's like, oh, I'm drunk as fuck. We'll drink that shit.
Yeah, what is it? Barton's? Keep that Barton's for the end.
Yeah, no, yeah. Blanton's here. This is nice, and then you know, we got some garbage here, just like some Heaven Hill, just gut rot.
Yeah,
If I'm gonna mix it with a bunch of lemon juice, like it doesn't have to be, aged for 7 years in oak cast. Yeah,
right. Yeah, I've got
fine.
some beers. I've got some beers that were aged for a year in Chardonnay barrels that cost me $20 for basically like 2 pints.
Does it at least have one of those cool, like hermetically sealed, like flipper tops?
No, most of them that are like that, they have a cork, then they have a normal beer cap, and then they're wax.
Oh, wax on top of it. I like the ones that you like. You know what I'm talking about, like a Grolsch top.
Yeah, Grolsch. I love Grolsch because they're easy to bottle as a home brewer. But they're so gross though. I make my friends drink them because they're fucking gross.
What Grolsch beer in general?
Well, the Grolsch, the green bottles with the flip top, they're
Yeah,
disgusting.
they're not very good. I
Well,
bought a
it's
gang of them
because
because I like the look of it.
yeah, it's the reason they're gross. I'm sure they're great over there, but because of their fucking clear bottle, the light gets to it and it skunks it. That's the same reason why Corona's gross.
Well, of course, makes perfect sense. Let me ask you this: if you're collecting craft beers and you have like 30 of them in your fridge, how long do you get to like keep those? I mean, like liquor, right? It just stays; it's forever, except for like the cordial stuff, like the more. If it's under 20%, you got to get rid of that shit in like 3 or 4 months, maybe even 6. But like this stuff, it's there's too much liquor in it to go bad.
It depends on what style it is. IPAs, you want to drink them as soon as possible because the aromas, like that's why people like IPAs. The aroma that'll dissipate really really quickly. But if you talking about barley wines, high alcohol beers, other than double IPAs, they'll keep for. You can cellar age those, but the ones that are below 6%, you want to drink those things in under 6 months. So
Ooh.
I'll have my beer fridge like completely changed in 3 months.
So you're like committing to a certain amount of drinking. I'm seeing you right now, like you're living 3 days a week completely trashed.
Well, no, I mean not completely. One, because you can't do two in a row at my age. Or you
Oh yeah, that's true. I can't do that no more. I can't back to back drink.
it's tough. It's really tough. I've done it a couple times, but then so let's say you get hammered on Friday, then you're reluctant on Saturday, but your friends are like, dude, you said you were going out with us. You're like, well, I guess we're doing that. Monday I still feel horrible.
Oh, real? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at recovery. I've learned like my tricks of the trade that get me over. Water as I pass out. I just chug a gang of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Although for Cinco de Mayo, my girlfriend did force me to vomit. I don't remember actually doing it, but she was like, "You need to go and force yourself to vomit in the bathroom right now." And then I'm like, "What?" And I just must have done it. But she knows me well enough to know that, like, when I get hammered like that, I'm like, "Yeah, I'd prefer to just puke now and then just like not wake up hungover in 20 hours or whatever."
Yeah, that's a good girlfriend. She really knows you well.
It's important. You gotta have people that compliment you in life, Brian.
I suppose so. I suppose we could probably stop talking about beer, but man, I really love it so goddamn much.
It's silly, but I feel like it shouldn't be understated. Like alcohol is like one of the fundamental things of human culture. I can imagine primordial man. Imagine if we were tribal, right? Me and you and like some other dudes, we all just lived in some hut deal or we hunted together. If there was one of us who could figure out how to like turn water and a bunch of fucking vegetables into something that got us wasted, that dude would be the fucking man. So yeah, I'm into like alcohol culture. I think it's an important part about being human.
I do think that there's almost every culture enjoys alcohol. Every section of humans on the earth love themselves some alcohol.
Yeah, point to me a culture that doesn't have any type of alcohol in it, and I'll point to some fucking losers, bro.
I mean, not to be mean, but even Catholics like church wine, right?
Boom. Yeah. Shit.
So
Mormons don't drink. Throwing that out.
right, right, they don't, do
looking
they?
at you, Utah. Watch yourself.
Oh, quickly before we get into this, did you know that in Indiana, you cannot buy cold beer from
Huh?
a convenience store or from a grocery store? You can only buy cold beer from a liquor store.
That's smart.
But you can buy cold wine from a convenience store.
I wonder if that increases like wine consumption or anything. I'd be curious about statistics there. If that's changed like how people drink. That's always weird. There's always like little idiosyncrasies in how people sell liquor. We don't sell it on Sundays. Not Sundays after 7. This county is a dry county. And then there's places that are like, here is a drive-through mixed drink, but I put a piece of tape over the lid, so it's a closed container. Have a good one.
Yeah. Oh, I want to live there.
Yeah, I think that's Texas, and then probably in the town next door, they have like a Jesus ordinance that doesn't allow anyone to drink after 7 p.m.
Okay, last thing about this. So recently in Nebraska, they were, I don't know, there was his name's Tyson Larson. He's a senator. He was trying to get a bill passed so that craft breweries couldn't sell, or they couldn't sell. How do I explain this? So they have a distributor. There has to be a middleman. So the craft brewery can't just sell to the grocery store. They have to have a middleman. So
he
now
created
the middle.
your distributors because he was like, oh, these guys are getting fucked out of business. Now the craft breweries have to go through the system I want.
Yeah. So right now the middleman, the delivery man, can take it across the street to the grocery store, but they wanted to change it so the distributor had to take it back to their warehouse and then back to the grocery store. So all of the craft brewers that are around me, they ship via a place in Omaha, but they are 3 hours away from Omaha, Nebraska. So the distributor is going to have to pick it up, take it back to Omaha, and then take it back to the fucking grocery store across the street from their craft brewery.
That's important,
What the fuck?
That's a good use of government, man.
Oh, you know what? You know
Let's
who's
start
the
rallying
biggest
against
booster
the
for
man. I
that
think
senator?
it's a political show. No, what?
Anheuser-Busch InBev donated $30,000 to this guy's whatever.
Dog, I could have written that story too, man. That was obvious. Of course, he's getting the big payday. Anything
fucking-
just like they're fighting and scramming for every dollar. Those guys,
It's fucking
InBev
bullshit.
is like a massive Dutch company, dude. They're
They own 2,000 plus beer brands.
2,000 beer brands.
Yep, and they just contracted all of the hops in South Africa. All of them.
They bought a country's hops.
Uh-huh. And that's that. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that in the United States. Or if like the hop growers wouldn't like let them, but they did it in South Africa.
Amazing. That's brilliant.
Well, let's talk about some fights. How about it, Andrew? What do you think?
Yes. No more talking about Dutch conglomerates.
Okay, so let's do a thing where we say how far we would walk in order to be allowed to watch each fight. I will keep a tally, and at the end, I will tally them up, add them up, and then see how far each of us walked. My goal is to walk just around 3 exact miles.
Okay, so a unit of measure here is kind of around a mile.
Well, we're going to go with point of a mile. So I'm punching it into an Excel spreadsheet. So to make it easy for me, like I'll put
these
point.
Fights I'm not going to walk 10 feet for.
Right, and then I'll put 0.
Okay, good. All right. I might get specific with my feet. How many feet are in a mile? Any idea?
I'm not doing the conversion. I'll put 0.
Okay.
or you tell me 0.01, I'll punch that in. But if you say something about feet, unless it's like in the thousands, I'm putting 0.
You're going to be upset. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So starting off the night on UFC Fight Pass, beginning at 6:15 Eastern Time, we've got Joaquin Christensen, 14-4, versus Gadzimurad Antugulov.
I heard the dude with the weird name is supposed to be a G. I'll walk 0.05 miles to watch this fight. Okay,
I like that.
I like fights, man.
Yes, he is a G. He's a former ACB champion. I think he's got some. I mean, we're not breaking down fights here, just saying how far we would walk. Anyway, I think he is a G. I'll go 0.05 as well. Moving on to Gabriel Mugli Benitez versus Enrique El Fuerte. El Fuerte? Is that what it is? I don't know. Fucking Barzola. I'm going to walk 0.01.
I'm sitting on my couch for this one. Sorry. 0. Bag on me.
I think that Gabriel Benitez, what was his last fight? He looked super good. Hits really hard. I think he's a finisher. We're going to have an action fight here. There's 0 chance we have any Jared Rosholt shit happening.
But this is a fight like that I want to just like stumble upon in the streets.
Yeah, that's probably true. Speaking of...
If there was a sandwich next to this fight, I would walk 0.05 miles.
Wait, no, what kind of sandwich?
Well, if it was a really good sandwich, like a half a mile. If it was like a solid like Italian sandwich, maybe like a meatball parm. Yeah, I'll walk a half a mile.
Have you ever heard of Firehouse Subs?
Yeah, they're pretty tasty.
If there was a New York steamer next to him, then I would walk 0.05.
0.05. Only 0.05. Okay.
Well, New York steamers, it's still a chain restaurant. We're not talking about like, okay, I like one-of-a-kind restaurants. I'm not giving the chain restaurants too much of my money.
It's like a Cat's Deli, pastrami sandwich piled like, 2 feet high.
Yeah, the owner is actually making my sandwich. Then
for you straight off the,
Yeah, 0.1 then. We're talking 0.1.
There we go.
But for chain restaurant, you might as well be McDonald's. No.
Sorry, Benitez. I'm sitting this one out on my couch. Mark me a 0.
The Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman versus Rashad Daywalker, Debutante Coulter.
Wow. He should have more nicknames. It's a heavyweight fight. I will walk 0.05 miles for it.
Man, I'm going to walk.
I would walk 0.1 mile for that.
Okay, thank you. That's good. I'm glad you downed that a little bit. I'm going to walk 0 because Chase Sherman, this is going to be a fun fight for however long it lasts, but neither of these guys are ever going to be anybody ever. And
that's perfect.
So I wouldn't walk to my beer fridge, which I can almost touch right now.
But there's beer in the beer fridge, so put 0.
Right. Yeah, I would walk to the beer fridge for the beer. That's a good point. So I'll stop using that.
Sherman with the beer and a sandwich.
But no, I mean, it should be a decent fight. Chase Sherman has 0 defense. He hits pretty hard. Rashad Coulter, he's got an overhand right. Maybe we could see some fun action in the first 5.
Dude, we're going to see big dudes slobber knock the fuck out of each other. I'm walking a 0.1 for that.
Ooh, yeah. What if it goes 15?
Oh, then, I'll have a lot of time on my hands because I could probably walk 0.1 miles faster than that final end.
you could walk a whole mile in as long as that fight takes.
Yeah.
Well, then throw a nut shot in there. You could walk definitely like a mile and a
Oh,
half.
dude, I could finish a 5K.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Number 12, strawweight in the world. Jessica Aguilar versus cast iron Courtney Casey. This might be a decent scrap, but again, nothing for me.
I love how you stuttered when you read number 12. You're like, really? What the fuck? How the fuck?
Yeah.
How's that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. I got a thing for Courtney Casey, 0.05.
You got a thing for in her fighting style, or you think that she's decent looking?
Oh, in her fighting style. She's an attractive girl, too. I don't know. It all commingles together for me now. The violence and the sexuality. It's all just pleasure to me.
like shitting or pissing, right?
Whatever, man.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. Now we're gonna do some serious walking. We're gonna start doing some serious walking starting on FX at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, with Marco El Toro Polo Reyes versus the Texecutioner James Vick.
I'm from New York. You know, we walk a lot. You know, 4 city blocks is basically a mile. I'd walk half a mile to see this fight.
A whole half a mile. Whew,
half a fucking mile. I'm gonna end up walking 12 miles possibly. There's that.
See, one time Wesley and I actually walked how far we had to walk to watch the fights, and I wanted to get it done in like an hour. So I ended up having to run. So I ran 4.7 miles, and I was tired as fuck. So, so I was like, I'm dialing back how much I'm walking for these fucking fight cards.
Yeah, I would just give up the illusion of the thing. I appreciate your commitment to the gig though, to the gimmick.
Well, I wanted to do it so I could gauge how far I should actually say I'm going to walk. Otherwise, I'll say, yeah, I'm going to walk 100 miles to watch this fight card. That's not realistic, Flying Brian.
You would walk 100 miles to watch a fight card. Like, seriously. Invest in a bicycle or something.
How far do people walk to golf?
No. I actually, like, even watching golf, they'd be walking around, you know?
Yeah, why?
Golf's weird. I played it too, and it seemed enjoyable, but I think it's just because I was drunk.
I golfed in high school, and it was miserable. Ball goes here, ball goes here. I wanted to go there. Like, just fucking do what I say, ball. Come on, pull together.
It's way harder than it seems, and it doesn't seem like it's very rewarding if I got very good at it.
No. I mean, what's the best case scenario? You become Tiger Woods, and your girlfriend hits you with your wife hits you with a golf club? Nah, pass.
I'd take that. How many miles? Or walk, rather.
All right. So this is going to be a super fun fight. There's going to be no dull moments in it. I believe that I will walk just a little less than you. I'll go with 0.49 because I want to go less.
Okay.
I just want to go less than you, man.
It's like the opposite of oh yeah, that's what they used to do in Price of Right, right?
No, Price is Right would be like
$1
I go 51, 0.51 or $1, Bob.
$1, Bob.
Jared Flash Gordon versus Michelle Capo Quinones. Did you know that Jared Flash Gordon came off of Looking for a Fight?
No. Mark that down as a big no.
I watched some of his fight film. He's got a pretty fun style, but a couple of guys that are coming in here, and normally if there's a fighter coming in making their UFC debut and they're going to be incredible, like Dukanwezi, what's his name?
Yeah, Dukazy.
Yeah, Diakazy. Yeah, Mark Diakazy.
Yeah, Mark Diakazy. You're talking about. There's two dudes, but anyway,
both names are really cool sounding. But so Diakazy, when he was coming in, there was a ton of hype about him on Twitter. So you were like, okay, I'm a little bit looking forward to this guy. Have you heard any hype on either of these guys?
No. Well, the problem is too, this is a very good card.
Yeah, so even if they were pretty good, they would fly under the radar. So
yeah, great prospect. It's a good spot to be in, but I don't know. All these 4 people, all the bottom 6 fights basically get kind of the wash.
Yeah, so I'm walking nothing.
Nothing. Okay. I'm gonna walk nothing too.
Yeah, sorry guys. I mean, once you get a picture on UFC.com, then maybe I'll walk something for you.
No, it's an opportunity for you to make me want to watch your fights from now on. Sorry.
Right? Yeah. The disclaimer on Care Don't Care with Kid Ney and Eugene S. Robinson is if you don't care now, change our minds and become a care.
Yeah, it's not an insult. I just don't know who you really are. There's a lot of fights that happen, man. I watch a lot of weird stuff. It's hard for my brain to remember it all.
Yeah, there's so much
But if you
content
knock
out there.
some
You
dude
got to,
unconscious and do something cool, I'm gonna remember you, dude.
yeah, wow us. And speaking of wowing us, Chaz the Scrapper Skelly, who owns the fastest submission in UFC featherweight history, versus Jason the Kid Knight, who has a hillbilly, reckless style that's extremely fun to watch.
I don't know, dude. I'm thinking about how much jogging I do in boxing, and I'm pretty convinced that I could easily walk 5 miles, like without a doubt, in this whole fight card. So I'm gonna assign Chaz Scully and Jason Knight. I got to start going lower, but I have to say half a mile.
Oh, I was thinking you were going to do more. Are you sure you don't want to do more?
No, I gotta stick to half a mile because if I started signing miles, Jesus Christ, how much am I gonna pay to see Stipe JDS?
So let me ask you this: you're exactly as excited for this fight as you were for James Vick versus Polo Reyes?
That is incorrect. You're yeah. With the level that I've started with James Vick and Polo Reyes, this is easily a 0.75 miles. I'll walk 3/4 of a mile.
Look at me, I'm selling you on this.
You're a fucking salesman.
I was going to keep you at 0.5 and then I was going to go 0.51 so that it would be even on that.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to go 0.76.
0.76.
Yeah, I'm going to 0.01 up you.
Damn.
Main event of the prelims happening on FX, which I didn't know they still had fight cards on FX. Did you know that?
Yep.
Oh, I knew it.
They only do it in special times. Have you ever noticed? Like, it's like probably baseball or no, what sport's happening right now?
MMA.
Baseball.
Oh.
Yeah, the ones you know about MMA.
Well,
they probably bought baseball and they're playing like a Cardinals game.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it makes sense. But one reason I love MMA, there's no fucking season. We don't have to wait 3 months to watch another game.
Yeah, there's just like tons of dudes who you like that fight all the time. And then sometimes a dude you forgot about, and then all of a sudden he's fighting. And you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that's happening this week. That's so dope.
Speaking of guys who we might have forgot about, Eddie, the Underground King Alvarez versus Dustin, the Diamond Poirier. There is zero chance there isn't a shitload of violence in this fight, and I'm more excited for this fight than the last one, but I don't know if I'm ready for a whole mile yet since we're not on the main card. But I'm gonna go with 0.8.
I'll go 0.9 then too, because god damn it, this is an exciting fight. The only thing that's keeping it from full mile status is my worry that Eddie Alvarez is chinny and he's just gonna get knocked out again, and I'm gonna be sad.
I hope. Oh wait, he's from New York, huh? No, he's from Jersey.
No, he's from Philadelphia. I don't give a fuck about
Philadelphia. But you like him?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like a dude who's did a lot in the sport, and I like the old timers, the dudes who fought in Japan, the guys who are like had weird careers and like somehow made it, and like now they're like kind of a star. Like I want to see him do good, but I haven't really been impressed with Eddie Alvarez for a while, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah. So give me a pick quick. Who are you picking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, real quick. I'm picking Dustin Poirier. I got money on it, too. I think Diamond's shining right now at 155 pounds. Not to be a complete douchebag. That was the worst thing to say, Diamond.
I liked it.
I came out my mouth and I was like, fuck me. Yeah, I think he right now he's too aggressive. He's just too old now to be cutting to 145. He's getting savvy. And he's definitely going to punch Eddie Alvarez. We'll see if Eddie Alvarez can still take a punch. That was a hellacious beating he took against Conor McGregor.
And it was his own fault, too. Like, use the game plan, Eddie. Use the game plan, Eddie. I, too, am picking Dustin Poirier. Ooh. You talk about how you like Eddie Alvarez because he's been around for a long time. The first time I ever saw Dustin Poirier was on a Netflix special called Fightville or something.
Hell and yeah, you did. It was a fucking MTV show and then a documentary.
Loved that shit. Loved it. I was just on Netflix searching for anything about MMA. Found Dustin Poirier on that and was like, yep, I like that guy.
He's so like Southern and cool, and like how that gym was. Remember, there was 2 kids showcased on that show. One was Diamond Poirier, and there was another guy who was like a little bit bigger than Diamond, but like he fucked around. It's like started having a girlfriend. He stopped coming to the gym after he was dating this girl. And like people were more hyped on that guy than they were on Diamond Poirier. It was a fascinating little study on like how little choices in people's lives like made them go in completely different directions.
I just thought of this angle and I have to spit it out there. These are both guys that got tooled on by Conor Mack. So it's like the fight of Conor
Oh
Mack
shit!
scraps.
I didn't even think about that this whole time.
But Alvarez probably took the worst beating between the two.
For sure. Diamond just like took one weird shot in the back of the head and then a little bit of follow up. Eddie Alvarez got like knocked down that could have waved off the fight like 3 or 4 times.
But he's taken a lot of time off, so his chin's probably fine. He probably does hit harder than Poirier, but I've never been impressed with Alvarez in this stint. And in fact, I've picked against Alvarez in every one of his UFC fights.
It's not a bad tactic, man. He left. He may have left the best fights of his career on the table against Michael Chandler. Those wars probably were like his last hurrah. I mean, I know that he became the UFC heavyweight champion. That sounds silly, but I'm really tarnished on that fight ever since I found out that like the day before RDA was unconscious for like 5 minutes. That changes my opinion on like your performance of knocking him out like really early in the first round.
Yeah, it definitely puts a little damper on it. But speaking of guys who left the UFC or that are old timers, they've been around for a long time, coming back. We've got David Branch versus Krzysztof Jotko. Krzysztof Jotko, can you believe it? Number 9 middleweight in the world.
He was supposed to be like a fucking freight train when he came into the UFC, or if people remember. And then he lost like his first fight or maybe his second fight in the UFC, and everyone was like, fuck that hype. But yeah, he's a good fighter. And David Branch is the name too. I will walk. This is 0.6 miles. 0.6 miles. Maybe
I
less.
like it. I'm glad you're walking less for this one than the previous fight because I agree. But I'm going to go 0.45. Just
I should have been with you. I feel like I would have been safer at like 0.4 miles as well. I regret now.
A little bit of it is, so we're talking about Twitter hype with fighters. There's a boatload around Krzysztof Jotko, and it's kind of warranted, but I kind of want to be a hipster and go against it.
Nice. I like that mentality. You know what? I'm gonna call him out right now. Dan Levy. It's your Jocko hype. He's been behind the Jocko bandwagon. He's got Jocko change his lives. He's pumping it big. And he's a good fighter. I think he could easily beat David Branch here. But the fights he's in, they're not like amazing, goddamn thrilling barn burners. He had that great KO against the Barn Cat. But other than that, they haven't been anything to write home to mom about.
Yeah, the Barn Cat has no chin, zero chin.
Yeah, he's just done. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm picking Jocko, but David Branch could beat the fuck out of him. And David Branch is old school, so I'm picking David Branch with my heart.
I'm picking David Branch with my heart too, but yeah, I have to go with Jotko. I do believe that he's a really good fighter, and it was impressive against Talis Latis, but I don't believe talking about him being a future champion and everything like that.
Oh, whoa. No. It could be fun. Come on. Not everyone has to be a future champion. They can be amazing fighters. They can be great, awesome dudes and be like the 10th best fighter in a weight division in the world. That's fine. Not everyone has to be a champion, guys. Just fighting. Let it be fun. But I'm only walking. I'm revise me to 0.4.
Oh, revising. I don't know if I allow that. No, I'll allow it.
Okay.
Now, this one has to be the furthest we've walked so far today. So the furthest you've walked is, well, maybe not. Maybe not. This fight is maybe equally as exciting as Dustin Poirier versus Eddie Alvarez. Frankie, the answer Edgar, number 2 featherweight in the world versus the most exciting fucking guy not named Conor McGregor in the world, at least at 145 pounds. Yair El Pantera Rodriguez. What do you got for this one?
I'm going to walk 0.7 miles. How much did I say Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier was?
0.9.
Ooh. Yeah, I would say then that this would be like maybe a 0.75. Frankie Edgar, I love Frankie Edgar. He's part of some of the coolest and greatest comeback fights ever. But I, for some reason, have always fucking hated Yair Rodriguez. He almost won me over this week with when he was talking shit to the media a little bit, and he got all offended that like saying that like why can't anyone knock out Frankie Edgar? But But yeah, for something about Yair Rodriguez puts a sour taste in my mouth, and I don't like that. We talk about not liking hype trains. I don't like his hype train. So that's the only thing that sours me a little bit on this. Hopefully Frankie beats him up bad. 0.7.
I like the reasoning. Yeah, go against hype trains. We can't just hate Paige Van Zandt's hype train. There are other hype trains that we can hate just as much.
I'm full of hatred for trains, so yeah, I got a lot to spread out.
There's basically what? Conor McGregor, there's a boatload of hate for his hype train, and then there's Paige Van
I'm
Zandt.
on that hype train though. I like it. Boop, boop.
Conor McGregor's hype train?
Yeah, why not?
I love Conor McGregor's hype train. He's extremely exciting to watch. He's the greatest talker in MMA history. He backs up what he says.
History of humanity.
Yeah, he's the fucking guy's amazing. And if you don't appreciate what he's so fun. So fun. I don't know, why do people hate him?
People who hate him are people who also like hate things like the circus and parades and just like fun random stuff that they're like, this is inconveniencing like people who want to do stuff. And you're like, why are you like a fucking sourpuss? Like they walk in a street fair and they're like, why are they shut down the streets today? It's like so that a bunch of people could have fun and like there's kids getting face painted. Like look at all everyone's having a good time. Why are you gonna be a dick? Well, what if I wanted to go to the coffee shop? The coffee shop's closed. I'm gonna walk through. Fuck you, dude. You're being a dick. But the same coffee shop's got a tent down the road. Just go buy it from like a thermos. Come on, man. Those are the people who hate Conor McGregor. Fuck those people.
You're right. I agree 110%. But for this fight, I'm going to walk the same that I walked for Alvarez versus Dustin the Diamond. I'm going with just 0.8. Now, this fight, I feel like this one is going to be a mile. This is a mile.
This is the mile plus for me, my friend.
Okay, yeah. Damian Maia, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Give it to me.
I will walk 1.25 miles to see this fight. Jorge Masvidal to me is so entertaining. Every bit of me that hates Yair Rodriguez loves Jorge Masvidal and 10 times more of that. Jorge Masvidal is fighting's Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, he's actually real.
Oh, that will never not be funny. Oh, I need to recover now. Jeffries, I need to recover.
Yeah, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, he's a real dude, and I'm really excited for this matchup as well.
And I like Damian Maia. This is two guys that I really like that are like diametrically opposed. They have different philosophies on life, and those philosophies on life translate to how they fight. Their personalities are expressed through their fighting style. This is everything that you should want in like an MMA people. Like, I don't know. These people are characters, and their characters are exemplified in the way they've chosen to approach the idea of fighting another human being. Like Damian Maia and just like his reserved way and just like calculated and very intelligent and articulate. You know, he speaks this, English as a second language, but you still like see that like this is a man that like, you know, is a thinker. You know, he's not giving stupid answers to questions. He's very mature and calculated and reasoning. And then like Jorge Masvidal's just like so, amazingly street. Has like a zero filter on him that is just so refreshing and so lacking in human beings nowadays. And that translates to how he fights too. You know, he fights in just like a very straightforward, I'm here, I'm gonna fuck you up way. That it's just undeniably entertaining. I could talk about this fight for 7 days. I could talk about this fight until we're done, until this fight happens.
So give me a pick then. We're not giving much picks, but
I have to pick Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, man, I agree. It comes down to if the fight goes to the mat, and I don't think it will.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jorge Masvidal is a great wrestler. People don't know he was a good enough high school wrestler to go to a decent college for wrestling.
He has 80% takedown defense, and it's not like he's been fighting bums.
Yeah, I worry that Damian Maia is a big fucking dude, but Jorge Masvidal fights big dudes, and he seems super confident with not having to cut weight.
And Jacare versus Whitaker, that just kind of painted the picture to me. That has skewed my opinion on this fight. Jacare need to get the fight to the ground. got it there, couldn't secure anything against the guy who could strike his fucking face off. Guy struck his face off. I feel like
Boom.
that's going to happen here.
Yeah, it happens, especially when the person who needs to get the takedowns is an aging fighter. Well, I mean, Jorge Masvidal's not a spring chicken, so maybe I should roll that one back.
But he seems pretty fresh.
That's the thing, right? For someone who started his career in MMA, fighting people in the streets of Miami in Kimbo Slice VHS tapes, he looks like a fighter in his prime. Oh my god, Jorge Masvidal is only 32 years of age. I give a
And
little
he's
quick
32 and 11.
Amazing, right? Like, never mind all those people who caught that ass whooping in the streets.
But you're right. He does look to be in his prime, and he's definitely in like seems to be in his emotional prime, not like
Yes.
emo.
He's a mature fighter. He's just matured as a fighter. As much as like there's bravado in what he says in the media, like he's not an egomaniac. He understands martial arts and he understands like his place in it. He understands that he's very good at it and he's confident in that ability.
I'm cheering for Damian Maia though, because for the simple reason that he's the only purist. Other Ryan Hall, sure.
Fuck Ryan Hall. Don't mention Ryan Hall and Damian Maia in the same goddamn breath. Not fuck Ryan Hall. I like Ryan Hall, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's he's the last one.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, right? And what's great about Damian Maia is he got obsessed with kickboxing, gave it up again, went back to the jiu-jitsu, but brought the wrestling. His takedown game's awesome. He took down, big ass dudes like Neil Magny and shit, like with like bread and butter, not like taking them down like, oh, it was a struggle and it was a war. It was like a takedown that you were like, this is from an instructional video. This is how smooth it looked.
And what about his striking on the ground? Carlos Condit said that the hardest he's ever been punched was Damian Maia on the ground. I don't believe that necessarily, but I have to take him at his word.
That could be a deteriorating chin too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and going into that fight, Carlos Condit had already talked about retiring. And I see a lot of people talking about, well, Damian Maia took down Carlos Condit like it was butter. He's going to do the same to Jorge Masvidal. No, man. Like Carlos Condit has like 25% takedown defense, and Masvidal has 80.
Yeah, I'm not too big into stats, but it's just like a difference in capabilities. And Carlos Condit forever was a fighter who came from a kickboxing background, was always susceptible to takedowns in MMA. It was always his known weakness. Like that's why the Damian Maia matchup like kind of made a lot of us scratch our heads. It's like you're gonna come back and save retirement if you can win this one fight, and you pick the worst matchup possible in all of fighting for you. Yeah, Jorge Masvidal in wrestling and Carlos Condit's wrestling is night and day. Those are two different beasts.
We're talking about night and then solar eclipse day.
Yeah, Jorge Masvidal's that special. He's like a solar eclipse.
All right, let's move to the co-main event of the evening: Joanna champion Jędrzejczyk versus Jessica Bate Estaca Andrade. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I'm walking a mile for. Yeah, I don't know what that means exactly, but for Damian Maia versus Jorge Masvidal, I'm going 1 mile. But let's move on to the co-main. Okay. Tell me what does Bate Estaca mean?
I don't know. I'm furiously googling. How much would I watch this fight? I really love Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It's not Jorge Masvidal level love. I'm going to be honest with you, but I think it is. It's 0.85. 0.85 level love.
Isn't that kind of crazy? You're walking less for the co-main and a championship fight. I know that you don't care about belts and they're just promotional tools, but like quite a bit less for this than the fight before it.
Well, dude, I can't help like who I'm attached to. Listen, I lived through the Joe Silva era of a card assembly. He would throw the greatest fights in the world as like the third fight of the night sometimes, and you'd be like, "Why the fuck is this amazing fight here?" So I don't give a fuck where a fight's positioned in the lineup. I just care about the dude scrapping, baby.
Bate Estaca is pile driver.
That is better. That is a good thing.
I like it, but I like more where the Spider translated his nickname.
Yeah, but if she was actually, it sounds really good. I was about to say like it sounds better in Brazilian or in Portuguese. That's not a language.
Well, it is Brazilian Portuguese, so you're close.
Yeah, I'm rolling with it. I bet you in Portugal, you say Bate Estaca, they will not know that that's a pile driver.
No, it actually means take a poop.
Oh, yeah, so you could translate it, you could not translate, but think about like a name like Massaranduba.
What does Masaranduba mean?
It's actually a character on a TV show I found out.
Oh, that's silly. Junior Dos Santos goes by Sagano, means the gypsy. I mean, that's cool.
Way cooler than calling yourself the Gypsy.
Yeah, I suppose. I like Cara de Sapo. Is that Shoeface?
Oh wow, that's dope. But Shoeface translated is just funny too.
Yeah, so this fight, man, I'm super excited about it because of the stylistic matchup. I feel like they both stand up girls, but we've got like a looping strike. We got John Lineker versus TJ Dillashaw.
Wanderlei Silva against someone who throws straight punches.
Anderson Silva.
There you go.
So we got Silva versus Silva. It's going to be super fun because of that. And I honestly think that we're going to see an upset. And for that reason, I'm fucking pumped to watch. I like Joanna. She's cool and all. I also love to see upsets. I love to see belts change hands because everyone seems to be shocked when it happens, and it's fun. Yeah. So for that like shock factor, I'm going with 1 mile.
I'm with you 100% because watching chaotic crazy shit, if you don't like random crazy shit that wasn't supposed to happen, then like why are you watching MMA? That's the funnest part of this whole thing. Is everyone's like, yeah, Michael Bisping's gonna get beat the fuck up by Luke Rock. Oh, he just knocked him unconscious. Oh my, that feeling is what you want. That's best. What you're here for. Yeah. Conor McGregor just, oh my god, he won. He knocked him down. Holy shit. That's the best part.
It's the best fucking part. You don't see that in any other sport. And if you do, it's not as like it doesn't happen this quick.
It's artificial almost. There's all these people. There's like a thing that happened. Yeah, this is like boom. A life changed in an instant.
Referee calls some bullshit foul in a basketball game so that they can get free throws to send it to overtime. Like, what?
Even a last-minute shot with the game on the line isn't as dope.
No. So, yeah, I think that we're going to see some chaos here, and I think that Jessica Andrade knocks out Joanna within 15 minutes.
Woo! I love it. I love you. You're a bold man.
I said it in my prediction video, and I'll say it again here. I think that Jessica... Joanna always ends her combinations with a low kick, and when she does, she drops her hands. Like, almost always. And Jessica, left hook, going to drop Joanna and finish it with some ground and pound.
Because she would. She's a ferocious little beast, that Andrade. I think Joanna puts her, like, Joanna's not like a power puncher, but she's got those fast combinations, and Jessica's just wide open to get hit too much. So if she doesn't connect early with something like that, she's just going to get slowed down by the assault of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean that's a definite possibility, but it's a definite possibility. One thing, Jessica usually walks through range keeping techniques like Joanna's jab, like her front kick. Jessica walks through those.
Yeah. So you're going to have to be really on point and have actual consequences for like getting into the bubble. If she doesn't, that's when Jessica Andrade is going to just like swing in the pocket and eventually connect with something big. And if Karolina Kowalkiewicz can sting you, knock you down with the jab, I'm worried for you when you take a left hook from fucking Jessica Andrade.
That's what I'm talking about.
Silva shit, man.
Claudia Gadelha dropped Joanna twice with left hooks.
That's the thing too. I like that she's been dominant, and then like slowly as we understood 115 more and more and more, like there's been people kind of picking away, and now we have like, is this the right combination? This is the right combination. It's fun. It's early UFC again.
Oh, we're like picking locks. Well, speak you early UFC, Damian Maia, Jorge Masvidal, striker grappler. This one, early UFC type of shit happening.
Taekwondo versus wrestling. Frankie Edgar against Yair Rodriguez.
Fun shit, man.
Going for stuff.
What do you think about rematches?
Like them sometimes, hate them when they're artificial and bullshit. What I like about what the UFC used to do years ago was they would wait a little bit before the rematches. I don't like them when they're immediate. I like this one because there was time away where they fought other people, and now they're coming back when there's more on the line. There's more meaning, and it was a great fight originally. You know what's crazy is he went from Junior Dos Santos was supposed to be fighting Stefan Struve. And Stefan Struve backed out with an injury. So instead of fighting Stefan Struve in Bumblefuck Nowhere for some no Bumblefuck consequences, they gave him the heavyweight title shot. Like, that's...
That tells you a lot. And it tells you a little bit about the shallowness of this fucking division.
It's so funny, yeah. But it's a fight that makes sense, and it's a fight that I'm excited about. That's kind of, everyone kind of says it's shallow, the heavyweight division, but you've only ever really needed like 4 or 5 guys in the heavyweight division. You always just need someone next. As long as there's just someone next, it's fine. And we're not stuck in the JDS Kane trap now that we got the new life of Francis Ngannou and the Black Beast. So this is fun.
How far are you walking?
Yeah, how far am I walking? Okay. I walked 1.25 miles for Jorge Masvidal. I'm gonna walk 1.1 miles.
1.15?
1.1 flat. No 5.
Oh man. Fuck. So you're mostly looking forward to Damian Maia versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Dude, I'm gonna go with 1.5. 1.5. Wow. So well, fuck. How far have I walked? I'd like to do a calculation to see how far I've already walked to decide how far I'm gonna walk for this one.
I was smart. I tried to. I think I got like 7 miles in me.
Actually, I'm gonna go with 1.25, and then that didn't work out. 1.25. So that my furthest walk is the same as your furthest walk, but mine is the main event.
Boom.
I'm super excited for this one because the first fight was so gosh darn exciting, and it was so back and forth. Do you remember how you scored the first fight?
Yeah, 3 rounds for Junior and 2 for Stipe.
I gave it 3 for Stipe, 2 for Junior the first time, but upon rewatching it, I gave it 4-1 for Junior.
Yep, I thought that was the other scorecard that I thought was correct. I didn't think a scorecard for Stipe was correct. He did a lot of good stuff, but score rounds like they should be scored. People, come on.
Yeah, it was underdog bias the first time I watched it. Same thing with Alexander Gustafsson versus John Jones. It's because I was shocked by how good Stipe was doing and thought like, holy shit, did he win that round? And then I just gave it to him.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And that's why I gave him the round that like is actually, I think it was like the second, I don't know. That like it should have gone to Junior probably.
I think it was round
score. 3-2's a lesser good score, but a fine score too.
I think it was round 4 because that was one where Stipe had a really good flurry, looked to hurt Junior, but then Junior landed like 15 more strikes.
Yeah. I usually reward big moments. That's probably why. It was probably that 4th.
I do too. I don't know if that's to my own detriment or if it doesn't say to do that in the rule book, but
the rule book sucks. Scoring sucks. Score fights intelligently. Just make sure that at the end of your scorecard, you have the fight going to the person who you think won the fight. That's the only rule. You watch the whole thing. Who do you think won? Make sure your scorecard reflects that, even if you have to cheat.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So let's tally up how far we're walking. Let me find my sum button. Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
You don't know how to do
No, it worked. It's just that we're walking.
I'm walking, I'm going to guess 7.5 miles.
Real close. We are both at 6.61.
Ooh. You know what? This is the best card of the year, maybe. So you got to walk 6 miles for it.
I walked, let's see, I don't have my Apple Watch on me today, but I walked 7 miles yesterday. So,
I mean, I live in the city. I'll get that done. 6 miles is easy. How long do I have to walk this? Is it one walk?
No. You have until fight time.
Oh, I eat this like a Tic Tac, bro.
Okay, yeah, 6.61. Both of us, but I didn't even try that. I was doing a little bit here, a little bit there, but we're walking the same exact distance.
Just you swagger jack me a little bit.
Well, that's fine. 6.61. We're swagger jacking all the way to 6.61. So that does it for Walk the Walk. I actually need some transition music if you got some.
Do you want something different? I kind of went with an upbeat vibe.
No, that's cool. Fight nerds, question time. Let's go to
Fight nerds. Fight nerds. Fight nerds.
That was pretty aggressive for some fight nerds, though. I mean,
well, there's fight in it, So
okay. All right. A little bit. Throw a little more nerd in there, though. What could we give it a little more nerdy?
Yeah. Oh, if it was like a techno thing, if you had like a
okay.
Yeah, there you go. You need that like kind of aggressive jock thing in there somewhere.
Yeah. All right. First question comes from Owen S.J. Young on the Twitter machine at Owen Y Balls. He asks, who does Vegas get for September 16th? Canelo versus Triple G or Floyd versus Conor McGregor?
The fight that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer as well. For a while there, I was believing that Floyd versus Conor was going to happen, though. For a bit.
I'm still like in the chaos multiverse, that's existing. There's still 30% of the universe is in infinity that this fight happens. We might slide into one of those.
Do you want it to happen?
No. It's gonna be boring. Have you ever watched the Floyd Mayweather fight?
Yeah, and what sucks too is if it happens, if they book this fucking thing, casual fans around the world are going to be asking fight fans like you and I about it, and I'm gonna give them an honest answer. I'm gonna say it isn't going to be exciting, and then I'm gonna say Floyd's gonna tool on him defensively, outstrike him for 15, maybe knock him out in the late.
And it's gonna be boring.
And
that's the worst part.
It's gonna be boring, and then at the end, they're all gonna complain that combat sports are boring. And it's like, no, I told you this fucking fight is gonna suck.
Yeah.
So
yeah, don't worry. Anytime anyone ask me about any modern MMA or like too many questions, I just like go on YouTube and I turn on Don Fry against Takayama and I just like play it while I'm talking about the fight in the background until they're like, what why is that mustache man beating the Japanese man in the face? I'm like, okay, that's what you need to be watching. Yeah. So watch this instead of what you were gonna watch, okay? This is better.
I remember I was doing a radio show for I did broadcast journalism at my college, and I did a radio show, and the director of the channel, I was talking about mixed martial arts, and it was the week of Mayweather Pacquiao.
Got it.
And he called up and he said, "Hey, why don't you talk about this on your show? It's related to MMA." And I said, "No." So I said for one, I talked about it. I'm like, it's going to be super boring. You're all going to complain that you spent the money on the pay-per-view. Don't say I didn't warn you. And that's exactly what happened.
That was the best public service anyone could have done. I watched that like during my friend's birthday party. It just happened to coalesce in the same weekend, or coincide rather. The best thing that happened that entire fight was we all got hammered, and one of the dudes punched another one of the dudes in our room in the face, and it was the most entertaining thing that happened in the entire pay-per-view. I would have paid $100 to watch him get punched in the face again rather than rewatch that.
Why did he punch him in the face?
There was some words exchanged. This guy was being a tough guy and like took a swing at him or like shoved his face. And this kid was like actually a boxer, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to put this right cross on your jaw, and your nose is blown up and it's bleeding now." And everyone was like, "Well, that went down exactly as you'd expect it to."
What a dumbass!
That was a great moment.
What a dumbass!
I'm really good friends with that kid who got punched in the face wife too. Weird.
With the wife, huh? That sounds a weird dynamic.
Yeah, it is weird when you barely know her husband, then he comes to a party and it gets punched in the face, and then you're like, "Hey, sorry, your husband's bleeding. Yeah, I'll see you around. Peace."
Shouldn't be a douchebag.
Yeah, I had no sympathy for him. It was tough.
Let's move to the next question. It comes from Muckand with a K. You can follow him on Twitter at, you know what? You can follow him. If you find him, Muckand with a K, go ahead and follow him. Do you think Dana White really cares about his fighters except for those who bring in money? And no offense to Muckand, I just didn't want to say his Twitter handle.
Yeah, Muckand, get a concise Twitter handle, bro. No, Dana White doesn't care. He doesn't care for these people as people. He's a businessman. They're all commodities and things. You guys got to stop with I'm sure there's certain fighters that he has a personal relationship with, but there's hundreds of fighters on the thing. No, they're just pieces on a chessboard for homeboy.
Are there literally 360 fighters on the roster?
Yeah, something like that, right? They might have trimmed it a little bit, maybe 340, but who knows?
I think I have 359 Facebook friends.
Yeah, Dana White likes his fighters as much as you like all of your Facebook friends. That's a great analogy.
Yeah, dude, because how many of your Facebook friends do you actually like?
Yeah, a lot of them you wish they weren't even there, but you're like, "Yeah, I'll deal with it." Like, "Yeah, I'll read the post. Yeah, I'll offer him a fight."
Yeah. And on Facebook, if somebody you don't like is your Facebook friend, but they live near you and you see them kind of sometimes, you don't want to unfriend them because they'll be like, "Hey, why'd you unfriend me?" And it's like, well, you're kind of a douche.
Yeah, it turns out that you're a piece of shit, and I don't like you all that much. I guess that's a hard one to lay on people. So
Your
you're
posts are
socially,
too
yeah,
political and you hate everything.
exactly. And then there's like 2 or 3 people on Facebook that like actually do cool shit, and you're like, I love this guy. He's the fucking man. Like button, and that's Dana White handing that dude a bonus. You're
Yeah.
like that shit. You're great, man. I'm so glad you're
So
around. You spruced up my feed really nicely. So yeah, Dana White respects his employees as much as you respect your Facebook friends.
I love that analogy. I'm glad we came up with that. Oh, speaking of
Yeah.
Facebook, well, we did it together, Andrew. Speaking of Facebook, Adam Lawson from Facebook, he likes my Facebook page, asked this question there. What do you think about Vitor Belfort's Legends division? I say give them all TRT, let them throw down, no belt, no weight classes, just old TRT abusing men beating each other.
Was that his question, or was that
That
you
was the whole
responding?
thing. That was the whole
I
question.
love every single thing that person said. He is my favorite person on Facebook today. Like, God bless you. You're the only person being honest in the whole goddamn world. That wouldn't be safe. Fighter safety. Shut the fuck up. This is not a safe sport. These people are already ruined and battered. Yeah, I want to watch old timers fight, but I don't want to watch BJ Penn get beat up by Yair Rodriguez. I want to watch BJ Penn beat the shit out of Matt Hughes. Come on, motherfuckers. Let's get our shit together. Like, these guys aren't going to live safe lifestyles anyway. They're going to get drunk and fight random dudes in parking lots. Like, we have to herd the crazy people of society and channel their insanity into a positive direction, and cage fighting is that source.
And at least give them a paycheck, right? Otherwise, they're going to be paying court costs and stuff.
Give them a fat paycheck so we can all watch it. Because, listen, if BJ Penn's fighting Matt Hughes, you watching that fight? Of course.
Yeah. My first ever article that I wrote when I started being Flying Brian J, I started actually as Axarban MMA. I started a blog called Axarban MMA. It's just Nebraska backwards. The first article I wrote.
Yeah, I was so confused. I thought it was like a black magic Satan thing.
Yeah, just this Nebraska backwards. There used to be a hockey team called the Axarban Knights. Anyway, my first article that I wrote was do a fucking Legends division, because there were guys like at the time when I wrote it, there was Rich Franklin, there was Vanderlei. I wanted Andy the Spider to be in it. All of these dudes, I want to see them fight, but I don't want to see them get murdered by Robert Whitaker or stuff like that. And I didn't say anything about TRT, but I still want them to fight. So Legends division, sure. TRT, whatever. I just don't want to see these old dudes get murked by people I've never heard of.
Listen, my thing on TRT is like, my dad is prescribed TRT. Like, my dad gets to use better drugs than the people we make fight in a cage, like, for a living. That seems stupid to me, right? Like, my dad's fucking, in finance. He doesn't need TRT, but we give it to him safely. He seems like he's better looking than he's ever been. My dad's more jacked than I am. How fucking unfair is this? You know what I mean? So if goddamn finance, Wall Street dummies get to fucking do TRT, why can't our professional fighters do it?
This is a new perspective that I've never thought about before.
There's thousands of old men right now running around New York City, and they are jacked up on testosterone.
Hitting on all the young women.
Yeah, they're out there living the goddamn dream. My dad's down in fucking Naples, Florida, driving around in a car, jacked up on tea, winking at ladies and whistling at them. I don't know what the fuck he's crazy ass doing, but
And people like Antonio Bigfoot Silva, who actually needed it because he has a disease, and we took it away from him, and then, yeah, that was some bullshit.
This is drug testing is some bullshit. There should be like some reasonable expectation of drug testing, like, when people are getting crazy freak. But even that, like, when people go crazy freak, like, steroid level on it, it ends up hurting their performance more than helping it. So, like, the market will find its solution here. I'm getting really, like, Ayn Rand libertarian when it comes to drugs and MMA. Just live and let live, people.
What do you think about Frank Mir's perspective, or his hypothesis that USADA is just busting people, so it seems like the UFC paid them for a good reason?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not willing to jump on board like that. I thought he's saying it like to make money, but
because to justify their money. Because if they went this whole contract time and didn't bust anybody, the UFC is like, so why the fuck are you here? So they're just like flagging random folks.
as soon as you create drug testing, there is then an impetus for people to be caught. It's just like once you make cops and have them enforce speeding tickets, like they're it must happen. People will get pulled over. But what's my point? My point here is that yeah, USADA. I'm not willing to say like it's like an entirely greed based thing. If you look at who's been caught from the USADA process and go down the list, like we're finding more people like taking weird tainted supplements instead of like people jacked up on roids and like EPO and shit that's actually important. We're getting people busted for like this precursor in a thing that was inside their fucking nutrition shake, and Lyoto Machida's getting kicked out for like something you could buy at GNC. I don't want to bust people for shit you can buy at GNC. If we're gonna drug test, I want to bust people for bringing in Russian steroids and injecting it in their ass. I want to bust people who are like snorting cocaine, except it's like made by goddamn former Soviet scientists. That's the shit we need to get out. Not fucking shit you can go to your natural home goods store and pick up over the counter. That's some dumb shit.
That is a enormously great point. The GNC thing, I've taken something in the past that I would pop hot for USADA, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, who hasn't? Dog, I do it regularly in that like there's some fucking multivitamin I take that's like I got all this dumb herb complex in it, and one of those fucking herb because I just like scanned it in the USADA little app, like bing, and it said like no, it's got this weird thing in it, you can't do it. I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
And are you jacked? Does it help your performance at all?
Dog, I wish.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm jacked.
Oh, I'm close to being jacked, but au natural, baby.
But I'm just putting it on the table. If someone is offering me like very affordable or free steroids, I'm game. I will be your guinea pig, bro.
And safe. Like let's make this a safe regimen. I don't want man boobs. I don't want it to be shriveled up. Like you tell me how to take it, I'll take it.
You got it. Yeah, I'm thinking something like a cream, no real injections. I basically just want testosterone. People give me like I want to just get jacked on testosterone. It's an experiment. See what's up.
Yeah, I mean, there's like anabolic steroids that you can take in pills that your liver will turn into, a steroid. So, no injections.
Oh, dude, I'm game. Sign me up.
Sign me up. Speaking of jacked, our last question of the show comes from Lemon GF. He just says self-explanatory question based on this picture from 2006. You know what I'm talking about?
Bringing it up. Oh, yes. There's a lot to be explained. That's not self-explanatory a lot, or at all, rather. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions about this picture. I'll retweet this picture as well so that everyone in the world can enjoy this and posterity can save it, retweet. I'm going to show it to my girlfriend after the show. Okay, so Lion Brian Jeffries is sporting... First of all, you're sporting magnificent biceps. Let's get that out of the way. That you are hitting a pose right there. You are full on jacked, my friend. You've been hitting the gym hard, I'm guessing. This is 11 years ago, put you right around college. Probably didn't have a lot, you had a lot of free time, hit the gym a bit. And you're sporting maybe the most fantastic head of hair since the cast of Welcome Back, Kotter.
It was actually the end of football season, my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So yeah, I was very physically fit at that point in time. And the hair, a little bit of an explanation. During football season, I wouldn't cut my hair if we kept winning.
Boom. It's a good luck charm.
Right. So we lost one game. It was like the fourth game of the season. And so we went 12-1. So
rolling into the playoffs. Playoff hair. Yeah.
So I won a state championship my senior year, and I didn't cut my hair for a long time. And then I got this thickness. It's not curly or wavy or anything.
Your hair doesn't break. My hair got long after a while.
I see you got like a lion's mane back there.
Yeah, it's serious. I'm gonna cut it soon.
But mine just grows up and out.
You have the definitive Jufro.
Yeah. Well, there's a little curlier.
I guess so, but it's pretty froey, bro.
Yeah, man. So I picked it out for that picture. Yeah, I picked it out.
Yeah, of course. Well, where are you taking this picture? Because there's like a First Security Bank calendar in the background.
It was actually.
And by the way, first of all, liar, Flying Brian Jeffries needs to change his name to Lying Brian Jeffries.
Does it say the year on it?
The year says January of 2007. This guy said it was taken in 2006.
All right. Well,
everything this man has told you.
Everything's crumbling down. Well, anyway, it's still right after football season, so it was around there. I just knew it was after football season because that's when I was growing that hair out. Wow, I didn't take a look. I didn't look that closely.
I just noticed it.
I better change my tweet and send it back out again so I don't seem like such a liar.
One last thing on this. What position did you play?
I was defensive end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look at you with the jacked ass arms. No offensive position? You didn't have one of those?
Well, we did play both, and I was an offensive tackle.
Oh, I was a tackle too, and I played nose tackle, but I quit my senior year because I just decided, fuck it, I'm going to exclusively smoke pot.
Nice. I usually just say the defensive end because tackles, there's no glory in being an offensive lineman. There's none.
There's
Zero.
never any glory in it. Yeah. I was a grunt, and I just wasn't big enough to actually be good, so I just quit.
Up until 7 games into the regular season, there were 8 games. I was leading my district in sacks, so that was pretty cool. Living in the glory days.
The American dream, being a high school football player.
I was 6'2", 190, and I was the lightest guy on my starting team.
Wow. See, that's the problem. And that's why I couldn't cut it when I was blocking guys like you at 5'9", 170 pounds during wrestling season, 185 pounds during football.
Yeah. I suppose a little tough. Short arms. You got to get them in tight.
They're just like, oh, I'm just going to run around you or through you. One of those. So see you later. Enjoy the bench, sucker.
So yeah, that's a pretty fun photo. Maybe I'll do it again. No, actually, I'm needing to cut the Brillo pad right now.
No, I want people to have a Photoshop contest with that. It's amazing how much that hair makes like your face look different.
Well, also, I didn't wear glasses then.
There's that. There's that as well. It's almost like if someone casted you for a Lifetime movie reenactment, like if you were murdered and they needed someone to cover it, they would hire that guy.
He kind of looks like the basketball player from Duke, huh?
Excuse me?
There's a basketball player from Duke that got in a lot of trouble for tripping people or some shit.
Oh, see, I'm so detached from basketball.
Yeah, I don't know.
I used to watch college sports until they start paying people money. And if I was playing basketball professionally or sub-professionally, whatever you want to call it, what those college kids do, I would trip the shit out of people too. It seems like a super effective way to like be defensively, minded.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is either, but some of my cousins watching, they said that I look like Mr. Duke. I don't know.
You look like every white college basketball player. You are like if you were create a character on like NCAA basketball, like you're the white, like you go white and black skin color, like Brian Jeffries the white.
At my work today, there was an old lady. Like I was inspecting her house or this building that she owns, and she was staring at me like weirdly, and I'm like, yes. She's like, do I know you? You got a very familiar face, and I'm like, nope.
You watch him in videos?
she named off a bunch of people that I might know that I'm like, never heard of any of them. I just have a familiar face, lady. I look like every white dude ever.
It's tough when you look like when you have a look. People are like, "Hey," I get it sometimes too because they'll just see like, "Hey, long red hair." I know long red hair guy. And I'm like, "I'm not your long red-headed friend." Yeah, but you got the yeah, I know. I look a lot like a friend. Fuck you and fuck your friend. See you later. Thankfully, in New York, people don't talk to each other.
Before the show, I wanted to do an intro for you, like to say who I was doing the show with, and I was going to say, this guy is on a podcast that is part of SB Nation that does a lot of fighter interviews, and he has a very distinct characteristic about him. Who does that describe?
Like anyone, I guess, right? Someone's always, I guess that must be me.
Well, and Ariel Helwani.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I wanted people to...
I'm the yin to like Ariel Helwani's yang.
Yeah, I wanted people to think for a second it was Ariel Helwani. He works for SB Nation, has a podcast that does a lot of fighter interviews and a very distinct physical characteristic.
Boom. Ariel Helwani. And then you just,
then I'm like,
then you just get Andy Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. Do you go by Andy sometimes?
I don't know. It's weird. Like people in my college will call me Andy, and then like give or take. Yeah, people call me Andy.
How about Drew?
For a very short period of time, then I kind of like ixnayed it. I was like, nah, bro, don't do that.
Yeah, I like Andrew for you. Anyway, so I think that's the last question. It was with me with a Jufro. Pretty fun stuff. Thanks a lot for joining me, Andrew. Where can the kids find you?
The biggest place to go, the stuff I like doing the most is all on middleeasy.com. Every Wednesday and all the weekend events, usually that's my coverage. I just like finding weird stuff. I've been super into sumo, so you'll see some sumo articles. You'll see weird videos of street fights because that's what I spend most of my day watching. It's a fun way for me to just write whatever nonsense kind of is bubbling in my brain. So check out middleeast.com and check out just everything we're doing over there. Tommy's got great rumor mill stuff. It's a good batch of content, and me and Tommy are hitting our stride right now. You can catch out the podcast, the MMA Circus I host with Nick Baldwin. Sometimes I do a show on YouTube called Before the Baldman Speaks. Hit me up on Twitter at the Clown Kid, though, if you want to chat about anything.
Thanks again for joining me, Andrew. All the kiddos and the fight fans can follow me on Twitter at FlyingBrianJ, and I will bombard you with what I have going on, so you'll never miss a single thing if you follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook at Flying Brian Show. Thanks again, guys. Namaste.